Hey everybody, welcome to Sub-Auteurs. This is another episode, but it's a little bit of a change for now because we won't be talking about movies per se, but still the experience of it. Ooh. I don't know why I'm doing that.
So it's been how many months since we've all been last to a theater? So I think it's
5 months.
I think it's 5 months. 5 months. So it's been 5 months since we've all been last in the theater. And I think it's a good way for us to reflect on our personal pet peeves while watching movies.
Not just pet peeves, I guess. General experience in theaters, like what we miss, what we don't miss, what's different now and watching at home, that kind of stuff. Even if you have like some fancy big screen TV, turn off all the lights and have this nice speaker system, which I don't have, unfortunately. How is it different? Lockdown and, actual cinema experience.
Yep.
Well, for me, what I really miss about the cinema experience is that communal feeling. Does that make sense? Like you're watching something with a group. There's just some kind of energy. There's some kind of a feeling that you just don't get when you're watching something when you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or even if you're watching with family or something, it's really different to share that experience or reaction with strangers.
People, yep.
In the cinema.
Because it's one thing to experience things with people and another to experience it with a crowd. It's very different. So that's very interesting.
It kind of gives you some affirmation that you're feeling the same way, you're reacting the same, feeling all the same feelings with these people that you don't necessarily have any personal connections with, which just shows you the success of the movie in making you feel that way. And I miss that too.
Yeah. Kind of remember how I watched Endgame for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the reactions were also... It was so loud because you're most likely watching with a huge franchise with a huge fan base. Tapos, that fan base has been built throughout the course of 10 years. And to culminate in that one movie, syempre the reactions were going to be so big. But apart from me wanting to see a culminating movie to a franchise, a part of that is the experience of watching it with other people, especially the moments such as the callbacks to the other movies, especially that part where Captain America finally says Avengers Assemble. That's fun. That was amazing. And when he finally gets to wield Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, the crowd literally went nuts.
The cheers, my goodness.
The cheers, the screams, it was everything. Yeah, apart from that, aside from, Avengers, because that's a pretty obvious example, horror movies.
Yes.
When people start screaming in fear or, because nagulat sila and start laughing right after, that's fun.
I have a question though. When people are in horror movies, when people are in horror movies, when you're there and people are screaming, do you feel the need to scream along with them? Or do you just want to keep a deadpan expression because haha, you sissies?
No, I own it. I own the fear. And it's I'm probably one of the people who scream along with them.
Exactly. That's I don't even think of it. That you would look stupid if you're screaming at home.
Exactly.
Yep.
I don't even think about how cool I'm going to look. I don't care. It's dark. I don't know you guys, but we're all scared.
I react a bit differently in horror movies because I find them so much. I find watching them or the experience of watching horror movies in cinema so much fun that I actually laugh when moments like that come out because it's fun screaming or reacting with these people who are also scared or mga nagugulat kayo at the same time. And then for the lack of a better reaction or for lack of a better response, natatawa ako. Kasi people generally, after screaming in a horror movie, some of them laugh.
Yeah.
And you hear people giggling and laughing in horror movies, which would be the weirdest thing for non-horror aficionados. Because, they wouldn't know because they don't watch horror movies.
It's just generally so fun. And you laugh at yourself and with each other. So nothing wrong with that. I mean, you miss out on the fun if you're all pa-cool and you're like, ha, sissies. It's part of the fun. Come on.
Absolutely.
That's why you watch it in the cinemas.
That whole shared experience thing, there's nothing like it.
Si Maiba.
No, I scream along with people. I don't even think about it.
I also scream.
Yeah, ako I laugh.
I curse.
Oh, by the way,
I curse.
I'm MJ.
Holy God. Who the hell are you?
Sorry guys, we assume by this time, kilala nyo na kami. Pero sige, for those listening for the first time, that was MJ. My name's Anjo.
I'm Misha? Question mark?
Hi!
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
So yeah, back to our episode.
Recording at 11:30 p.m. after a lot of online meetings and bank transfer mishaps.
No, okay. Something that I like about it is it's like the feeling you get when you're like at a really good concert, right? When you're singing along with like 10,000 people that you never met before, but you're all sharing this one amazing experience together. You don't know them. You're never going to see them again in your life. But for that one moment, this is where you guys are, and it's something awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Together. Let's have some fun. Woo! High school. Sorry. I don't know. That's my wife's influence.
What was I going to say? It's like one of my absolute favorite movie-going experiences. I think I touched a little bit about this in the Lord of the Rings episode, was seeing The Return of the King. Because I don't know if you remember, right? Those movies came out like one a year for 3 years in a row. So by the time that The Return of the King was going to premiere, everybody was ready. Everybody was excited. We wanted to see how this thing was going to end. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it was set to come out the same week as the Metro Manila Film Fest.
No.
And that's what happens every year on December 25th, Philippine cinemas. With Philippine cinemas, right? They just essentially, they take out all the foreign movies for like 2-week period where they only play Filipino movies, which is good for the local industry. But it's bad if you're waiting for Return of the King, because now the entire world gets to see the movie in December. You got to wait till like the second week of January to find out, what happens to Frodo.
But back then we were lucky enough not to have Facebook.
Yeah, those spoilers.
Well, that's true.
Because spoilers.
That's true.
Like spoilers now are so much easier to, they're so easier to access because of social media. Back then, our social media accounts were mostly, in the Philippines, were Friendster and Multiply. And nobody posted spoilers at all. Wait,
so
did they just give out?
What happened was...
just a giveaway.
You gave your age is what you did. You gave your age.
Yeah, but MJ will back me up by saying I'm not the oldest one in this podcast.
You're still old.
Whatever. Moving on.
Older. But anyway, moving on.
So, wait, hold on. So what happened was, I think every organization in UP Manila and every university or every school in Manila bought block screenings, like in every cinema they could, just for one night before the Metro Manila Film Fest, just so everybody could see this movie. So if you imagine, like every single cinema in Mega Mall, every single one was showing Return of the King because the schools had blocked out all the cinemas just for that one night. So watching it was just the most ridiculous, hilarious, loudest screening I have ever been to. Like people were cheering like it was a sporting event. Like when Legolas killed that giant elephant. It was ridiculous.
Love that scene.
It was Nisha did not make a mistake. It really is an elephant, not elephant, elephant.
Damn
like
right.
Timothy?
But it only counts as one.
According to Gimli.
That's true. Well, that's something I will never ever forget. And that's why I still love going to the cinema, even if, it's not the most convenient thing in the world a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think just because also the way we're so interconnected and we're just always online, we're always tuned in, we're always on social, we're always updating, posting, sharing, retweeting and whatnot. The cinema is like 2 hours where ideally you're not going to be disturbed. And, unless you're a total douche who takes his phone out during the movie, then, you can get lost in what's happening.
Yep. Yeah. it's so easy now to get so distracted at home because when you watch Netflix or other ways just at home on your TV, it's so easy to pause. You don't have to even give the same commitment you do whenever you go to the cinemas. You don't pay as much, but the experience isn't as good because, of course, surround sound and seeing the projection, how it was meant to be,
the whole experience, even
cinematography.
You get to see a film for what it really is. You don't get the crop ratio aspect. You don't have to adjust your screens, the film that you're watching to the screens that you have. You get it as is.
Yeah.
Unless the guy behind the projector screws up, which happened before. Not gonna name which cinema. Yeah.
Some cinemas quite unfairly dim. You could see it, like parang ang dilim.
This was worse.
Purposely like
I watched Wonder Woman. Imagine first day Wonder Woman. I watched Wonder Woman in the cinema. I'm not gonna name which cinema this is, but it's
Why not?
Anyway,
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Basta I watched Wonder Woman in a cinema for a good 5 minutes. Blurred yung image. I was like,
bad trip.
Ooh, did they start it again?
Pero the beauty about it was during the scenes that it wasn't the action scenes. It wasn't the first time that she see her in the full Wonder Woman outfit. So okay lang. So it was mostly the parang dull scenes pa. Pero bad trip pa rin.
I also had this bad experience with the person in the projection room screwing it up. Because I remember it was a screening of Rurouni Kenshin. The one
parang alam ko anong
where...
cinema yan kasi isa lang ang nagpalabas niyan.
Yeah. So it was Rurouni Kenshin and it was about to start. People were just like antsy to see it. And the projector fucks up and suddenly first screens it. Parang there was something wrong. I forgot what was wrong at that point. So they had to stop it and play it again. And when it played again, it was that scene where Kenshin says goodbye to Kaoru. Such an emotional moment.
Serious?
Yeah, and people in the cinemas were groaning like, "Oh, come on!"
But question: do you guys ever see that article online that came out that a cinema played the reels or the film for La Llorona instead of Detective Pikachu?
Oh, that was
yes, I saw that. That was awesome.
Those poor kids. Those poor traumatized children.
So, would you have that experience or...
No, wait. Hold on. No, they didn't show that movie. They showed the trailer for the movie before Detective Pikachu, which they were not supposed to do.
Oh, wait. I thought they showed the movie. Tama. Okay.
Trailer.
But still, it's something you don't show to that obvious audience. Obviously.
That is true.
Maling market yan, boys.
Oh my goodness. I remember this one time I was going in to see Sin City.
Ooh.
First screening of the day. And okay, I'm not going to name the cinema unless you ask nicely. I went to the screening. I think the screening was like at 10:15. The mall opened at 10. So 10 o'clock, I'm at the ticket booth with my friend. And then we're like, okay, we're ready to buy our tickets. And there was nobody there at the counter. Like the girl who was supposed to be selling the tickets, she showed up at like 10:25.
Bad trip.
And by which point, the movie had already started.
Oh, that sucks.
Why?
I was like, what?
That sucks.
Sales go down.
Right?
That's how sales go down, you know?
But my main pet peeve when it comes to theaters, I mean, aside from people who talk through it, is like cinema chains that intentionally run their projectors at dimmer than normal lumens because they are of the false assumption that they can preserve the bulb life of their projectors. Even if it's already been proven that lowering the brightness on your projector does nothing to extend the life of the projector or the bulb within. But there are some people who still do this.
Boomers running.
You know, you're struggling to see what's happening. So in general, I just avoid this theater chain as much as possible.
I will message you and ask you for that theater chain.
Do not watch Zack Snyder films in this theater chain.
Yes,
I'm not kidding.
You'll see nothing.
Yes, I saw BVS in one of those. Oh my god. Oh my! It's like that dark shape is moving, is angry at that darker shape.
Which darker shape is Batman? I assume the one with the cape.
No, wait.
Wait! Hindi, umilaw kasi.
How about like bad movies? I mean, the crowd experience can also make a bad movie fun, honestly.
Yes! Oh my God, yes.
I agree.
It's so much fun.
Right? Because I remember... sorry, go ahead.
No, because my friend was telling me about, like, because he's been to one in LA, that he's been to The Room.
Oh my God, I want to watch that
I want to watch a screening of The Room.
Me too. I want to throw spoons at the screen.
Exactly, those interactive screenings for The Room where you throw spoons, you basically interact with everybody gets to do something, and it's something we don't do here. I don't know why. Maybe we should, because it's so much fun.
The Room just doesn't have that kind of impact here, kasi like people barely know about it.
I don't think it's just that, but it's also because like it's just not in our culture to make noise in the cinema in that kind of way, to interact. Yeah. It's like we're great at concerts, right? Bands love playing for us, international bands, because we are a great audience.
Yeah, we sing along.
But the reason...
Aren't they obligated to say we love you, Manila?
Song. Yeah, but I think
they're
genuinely...
required to say that in every city.
Yeah, they are. But I think what really sets Manila apart, well, by what some people say, at least with the interviews I've done, is that like people like know the fucking lyrics and they just like sing along louder than other crowds.
Right.
That's what they tell us. But
that's true.
But in the Philippines, a cinema reaction is not like what you would get in the States. In the Philippines, the general reaction that you get in the cinema is like when the Beatles played Japan and they thought they had just stunk up the place because the Japanese audience was too polite to make noise while they were playing. So it's just like that. That's why I will never forget watching Endgame, where people were actually engaging with the screen, what was happening. I will never forget Return of the King, where because the entire cinema was filled with essentially our entire college. We had no shame about cheering together.
Or watching The Force Awakens, That was fun. That was a fun experience for me, watching The Force Awakens. Opening day, yes. That was fun. Because you have people cheering and wooing at all the right moments. Like, oh my God!
Right?
Yeah.
But it's nothing like watching in the States where they will really yell at the screen.
Yep.
Another great experience that I think will only happen here in the Philippines was, again, another Rurouni Kenshin movie. Of course, it's in Japanese, so there are subtitles. I will never forget this moment where there's a character whose name is Tae, okay? And it's spelled T-A-E. So, the first time her name comes up in the subtitles, and it's just that. Somebody just says her name, and it's the only thing in the subtitles. People were snickering. Kasi parang people in Manila would read it as Tae. So, most of the people were just like, yeah, we were all just laughing because I don't think you'll get that anywhere else, because I was like, wow, we are so mature, but we were all laughing anyway. So that was a cultural thing. Yeah, it is a cultural thing, and it was awesome. I'm sorry to the character, but that's just what it's called here.
Ay, nako.
I'm not even gonna. But with something like that, I can actually put up with that over people who feel the need to explain each and every single thing that's happening on the screen to their date.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Is your date not watching the same movie? Is your date learning impaired? Is your date blind, dumb, or deaf that they can't get this on their own? Why do you need to explain it to them? If they're so goddamn stupid, why are you with them?
On the other side of the spectrum, my pet peeve is somebody asking me questions about what's going to happen. Why did this character do this? That's why we're watching the movie. Let it play on.
Exactly.
Just wait for it.
I don't know. This is the first time I'm seeing this too.
God damn it. Shut up.
It. I'm not going with you the next time.
Are you saying that while looking at Pasha?
No, I'm not.
Okay, just so we're clear.
Because she's learned.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh, man. Dude. Oh, man. But yeah, I hate it when that happens too. I mean, why do you bring that person in the cinema if they don't, like, especially yung, sino yan? Sino yan?
Exactly.
Parang,
if they don't have the cognitive ability to recognize or to process what's happening on the screen, leave them at home.
And you bring them to a sequel, especially like sometimes it'll happen, right? You bring them to a sequel and they haven't seen the first one and they keep asking questions about the first one. So it's like, damn it! Shut up!
But you could have asked me in the car.
Exactly. Frustrating. Quite frustrating.
Parang minsan, like, if you hear somebody explaining something naman, parang, tangina, tumahimik ka. Lakas na boses mo. Bakit sipain?
At least, if you can't avoid it, could you please try to whisper it to whoever's asking?
Yeah.
Or like, tell the person who is asking not to ask so loud?
Ako fine. Like, okay, fine. Another thing, I'll tell you about one experience that I had that really irked me. Like, I was so annoyed. It's one thing to bring out your phone in the cinema, like, okay lang naman. I mean, to me, it's bearable if you do it like for a moment, but to do it like continuously and you see, especially now that everybody is on a smartphone. So you really see like big screens, like illumination talaga because of those big screens, right? Parang, it's one thing to do that. Tapos you see some people trying to keep it down para, they're being a little bit more, polite or considerate about the other viewers. Pero there's this one time that I was out on a date. I was out on a date with my wife. And then we were watching, I think, Eat, Pray, Love. Tapos, this cell phone rings. This lady answers it. Ang lakas pa na boses. Oo, nandito kami. Nanonood pa kami ng pelikula. Nanonood kami ng movie. Parang ganun siya sumagot. I was like, ang lakas ng boses. Putang ina naman nito.
What the hell?
So eventually, mabilis lang namatay yung phone niya. Phone rings the second time. Apparently, hindi siya natuto. Kasi it wasn't even on silent the second time around. Answers again. Oo, nanonood kami dito na movie. Eat, Pray, Love, yung kay Erin Brockovich. Good God. It was such a long conversation pa. Like, she was talking to this person for a good minute or so. Parang, sobrang inis na ako. Gusto ko na tumayo. Thankfully, the guy seated next to... I was in the aisle seat. But the guy seated next to Posh stood up, went down. He went down mga, like, I forget, a few rows down to this lady and said, kasi narinig, medyo malapit so I could hear it. And he was saying, like, excuse me, ma'am, pwede po bang lumabas na muna kayo? Kasi nakakadistorbo na kayo. Kanina pa kayo. Ganun niya. And then she refused to leave. She refused to leave.
She just kept talking?
She just kept talking. May kausap ako. Eventually, I think other people in the vicinity, in that area, were telling her not to leave. So she eventually left. So that was like one of the worst cinema or theater experiences I've had ever in my life.
That sucks.
That was so bad talaga. It's one thing to talk inside the cinema, but to converse in a loud voice, that was so inconsiderate. And we have the decency to leave. It's so sad that we have to have those PSAs before movies about cinema ethics or ethics. Sorry, theater ethics. Theater ethics. There you go.
I had an experience once in a high-end mall. So you would think that the clientele would have some sense of, I don't know, decorum or courtesy. And
high-endness.
Pretty much the same thing. This person would talk and then put their phone away. But, you could all hear it. And their ringtone, which they could have turned off, they did not. So it got to a point where she wasn't answering anymore. But the thing kept ringing. It wouldn't stop. And she was like, just ignoring it. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Well, yeah, that's
so
better
I
than...
literally turned around in my seat. And I asked her, I'm like, do you want to answer that? And then she left.
Good. Good job.
I think she's trying to figure out how to put the phone on silent, really.
Yeah.
I have this question though. Are you the type of person to tell someone off near you? Like, let's say this person is behind you, beside you, in front of you, or whatever. Are you the type to tell them off when they're being loud or annoying?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
I've actually had...
I learned how because of the French.
I've actually had
because
a
of
lot
the French.
Excuse me inside cinemas, or excuse me moments inside cinemas. Excuse me, and I look at them.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes Pash goes, and just stop.
Yeah, even my boyfriend was also like, he was like, you're scary sometimes when you tell them off. Because I really get sungit. It's like, excuse me, can you please lower it? Or something like that. Or I don't know. Or excuse me, can you please stop talking? It's not even about the movie you're talking about.
I've had that experience in Cinemalaya. Cinemalaya, it's so unlikely for you to be able to see those movies outside of Cinemalaya. And there would be some people who would be loud and boisterous inside, the theaters in Cinemalaya. And some of them aren't even big. So you can really hear everything. So parang at one point, this group of I don't know if they were students or not, because at that time I was also still a student. Parang they were being loud and annoying. Parang they were talking and making fun of the characters in the movie. You're trying to watch. You're trying to get into the story. You're trying to understand these characters. Tapos bigla they'll start talking about how these characters are so stupid. Without trying to observe what's going to happen next. Parang they're trying to assume what's going to happen next. So I was like, excuse me, tapos sumasagot pa. Ano naman yan? Ganyan. And then eventually, like, an usher from the outside told them to leave the lamp. They were going to be like that.
And I mean, it's not even just like one of those moments which we already spoke about enjoying, like all of you screaming, all of you laughing, that's fine. But when you're disrupting someone else's viewing experience and everybody else is, properly just watching and observing, good decorum, it's like, oh my God, you're not the only people here. Okay, we all paid for this. Please don't make it worse for any of us. My goodness.
It's also why I like that Boys Night Out movie, that Boys Night Out PSA, because it's really funny. And I don't know which mall chain that they play that in, but that
probably one that we can't name.
Probably I don't. Yeah, but that's really funny because it's really true. It's so sad that some of what Sam YG does in that PSA actually happens. Diba?
It's like I mentioned earlier that I learned not to be ashamed of telling people off from the French because I once sat through a screening of The World Is Not Enough back in 99.
The world is not enough.
Shit, naunahan mo.
Any excuse to burst into song. So it was 1999. I'm in the cinema. I'm a garbage.
Yes. Since we're talking about the French, we're going to call it garbage.
Garbage.
So like, I'm a big James Bond geek and I was excited to see this movie, seeing it for the first time. You see it on the big screen and there are 6 French people behind me. Now, I'm not being racist, okay? I could have just said there's a whole bunch of white people behind me, but no. I was in Singapore. There were 6 French people behind me. How do I know? Because they would not stop talking. Like people would talk on the screen and they would answer. It's like somebody asks James Bond, do you know what time it is? And then the person behind me goes, it's time to die. I'm like, oh my God.
What? That's...
I know.
What?
So that was the first and the last time that I had to reevaluate my movie-going habits from that point. I'm like, I should have said something at some point. So now I just always do because I refuse to go through that again. Like if somebody is explaining the plot to their dim-witted date, I will literally turn around and say, it's more. You get it now? You understand?
Oh my God.
Because holy shit, what is wrong with you people?
Oh man.
Or so even better, I have another one. Terrible. Sometimes I just say thank you. Oy, salamat. I didn't understand. That scares them more, actually. That scares them more than me yelling at them. Thank you for explaining that to me. I wouldn't have gotten it. Huh?
I want to watch a movie with you now. I want to see this. I really want to see this happen.
I love this bitchy version of
in real life. Oh my God, this is awesome.
Like, I made time in my week to be here on this day at this time to watch this thing, and chances are I paid for this, right? I paid for this, so shut up.
Oh my God.
This is me time, okay?
There was also this moment that I cannot get back. I cannot get this moment back because as a Potterhead, of course, you grew up watching the books, you look forward to the movies and everything. So, of course, in one of the last movies, the Deathly Hallows movies, of course, am I going to spoil it? I mean, it's a book. You probably know this already. But that
Go ahead.
Part with Snape's flashback. Yeah. Snape's flashback. Yep. You know what I'm talking about. This iconic line where Dumbledore asks Snape if he's been in love with Lily this whole time. And the iconic response, you get so emotional to that build-up, and he says, always. But the guy in front of me, sinabayan niya, putang ina.
Let me guess. Does he say it in this way? Always. Does he say always?
Hindi naman.
At least naman nakuha ni action yung always.
It was still annoying.
Okay.
No, but
Lord.
Dude, I was waiting for that moment in the cinema, okay? And this guy just ruins it by talking so loud over one of the most iconic lines I've been waiting for. It still triggers me. It triggers me to this day. I regret not kicking his chair. And like you could literally also see people next to him or next to me, and people were like, alam mo yung parang
yung parang you were all in shock na parang, did that just really happen?
I know. I mean, I get it. I understand. We're all fans. We're
all excited.
But did you have to say it out loud and ruin it for everybody? I was so sad. I was so upset.
I have something along those lines. Wait, it's like, oh no, go ahead. Sorry, Fanjo.
No. I was just gonna say, at least hindi always. But yes, I also have a story along those lines then. Misha, go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't even get to the cinema for my Harry Potter spoiler. I was sitting in school and Half-Blood Prince had come out like maybe in the last 48 hours. So I'm sitting in class and waiting for class to start. The professor's not there. A bunch of us had found our tables already. We're just waiting. And then these two idiots behind me are discussing how terrible it was that Dumbledore died in this last book. And I was like, why? Why would you do that?
You've never read the book.
I didn't have the money to buy it at that point. I was going to borrow it from somebody else, but they were still reading it.
Boo.
So to hear two people behind me talking loudly about how Dumbledore died, I was like, what the actual hell? So by the time I got to the cinema, I was like,
the books are it.
No, it's okay. I mean, for me, I'm used to people being jerks in cinemas at some point, but the book is something that, you can take in on your own and no one's going to ruin that. So I guess the communal experience works both ways. It can be really good. It can be really bad.
Yeah. In my case, this is a story about a friend of mine who saw episode 3 ahead of others. I didn't watch. This story came from my wife. So
episode 3 of
Star Wars.
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith ahead of everyone else. So she watched again, and at that moment where Obi-Wan takes the high ground and is asking Anakin to surrender.
Please do the impression. Please do the impression.
And Anakin just goes, I hate you. She says it. She screams it out at the exact same moment. He says, I hate you to Obi-Wan. It's like, oh my God. Why did she say that? That's so funny. But also kind of like, if I didn't know her, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, tangina. That's like, one of the most painful moments in the character storyline or an Obi-Wan storyline. So why? Well,
she was super
it's funny though. It's so funny. She's like, I hate you. Like, okay, chill.
One of the times it's okay for me though. I mean, if you look at it in general, it's not good to be commenting out loud about these things. But this was a kid, okay? This little boy, probably like, I don't know, 8 years old or younger. We were watching Spider-Man, the first one with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. It was that iconic kissing scene in the rain. And as people can tell...
I like where this is leading toward.
So it's before the kiss, she is drenched in rain, and you could obviously see that she was not wearing a bra. So, okay, Sure. Free the nipple. No problem with that.
I seem to recall this.
Obviously, you guys do.
Already laughing.
And this kid goes like, Mama, wala siyang bra.
Oh, that's acceptable.
It's acceptable.
That's acceptable.
I mean, it's this cute kid. I can't hate him. But if that were said by an adult,
innocence.
it wouldn't be okay. But, he's a kid. He's innocent. But, he didn't know, but it's hilarious. Thank God.
There's a difference. I mean, there's a difference between...
The kid made valid points.
Mama, wala kang bra. Sa pare, wala kang bra. There's a very big difference between those two things. Diba? Pare, wala sa bra. Okay? Diba? So acceptable yun. The latter not so much.
Why don't you put it that way?
Naman. That's why I'm like, thank God this was a kid, because it just made us all laugh out loud. Because, he's innocent. I'm like, okay, yeah. That was memorable. It's like, well, he said what we were all thinking in a very adorable and innocent way, so it's fine.
To be honest, I was more bothered by the fact that his webs are his bodily fluids in that series. But yeah.
Wow. Okay, that gave me thoughts, but let's not get to it.
Yeah.
If you can find it, look up Jack Black and Sarah Michelle Gellar hosting the MTV Movie Awards from that year. Jack Black was thinking the exact same thing you're thinking, and he made it worse.
Oh God.
So what did he say? Because I'm tinatamad to look it up.
No, we'll just share the clip later.
All right.
We'll be sharing it on our Facebook page.
Maybe.
Something that I enjoy, that I found about the communal experience. Remember how I said it can make like bad movies seem good? I wasn't even talking about like ironically like The Room, where it becomes fun because everyone's just reveling in its badness. I mean, like the energy in The Room can take an average film and make it a great film just by virtue of how good a time you're having.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, and then when you watch that same film at home, you're like, why did I think this was good? Has that ever happened to you? Something that you really remember enjoying in the cinema. And then you get home, maybe a couple of years later, you watch it and you're like, the heck was I sniffing that day?
It's funny you mentioned that. Now I'm trying to think up of a movie that was bad, that I enjoyed watching in the cinemas, then going for a second time. Didn't really enjoy, going for a second viewing of it at home made me think about it again.
I can give you one. Gravity, honestly. I enjoyed the hell out of it in the cinema. When I got home, I was just so underwhelmed.
Gravity. Sorry.
Because when you watch it on a small screen, you can see everything that's wrong with it. But when you're there in the cinema, in the dark, with a crowd, and you're all on the same page, we couldn't breathe watching this movie. But you watch it on TV at home, you're like, what was the big deal?
Maybe like the cinemas do play a big role with the experience. Even if just because I think of the scale that you're watching it on, because it's so big, it's right there in your face. Apart from the audience, you have all these surround sounds like in those great theaters. Maybe that plays a big role in I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Because honestly, I haven't seen Gravity on home video release.
Yes. And then there's movies that are just so big and dumb and loud that, they play really well when you're watching them with a crowd. And then when you get home, it's like, what sane person would like this, honestly?
Not
Which
really.
I think is... Yeah, go ahead.
I would
not
say
really in a way that says, okay.
For me, siguro, I may have found the movie. I think it's the first Thor movie. Na parang, ganda. I watched it again at home. It's like, I fell asleep through it.
Well, maybe it's not about the content of the film per se, but it's more of the experience you have watching it with a lot of people and all of you reacting at the same time. I think it was a zombie film. I think it was Dawn of the Dead, and people were all like, being fun, laughing, and also like getting freaked out a little bit, feeling the suspense. But when I watched it alone at home, it's like, it was more fun with more people. It's one of those for me.
Yeah, I think zombie movies in general are made to be watched with people because
with friends also.
With friends, yeah. With friends. With friends, to be more specific, if you're talking about home video or home video releases.
Yeah.
Unless it's Zombieland, because
it's all that one's always fun.
Because Tallahassee is the best. I love Tallahassee.
I actually like that second movie.
Oh yeah, we watched it together.
Right. That was a good one. I liked it. Even if it had been 10 years since the first one? 12 years
I think
or something?
that was the last movie I've seen before the lockdown.
Oh.
I think. I'm not sure.
I can't even remember when that was. But yeah, that was just so much fun.
Speaking of my experience with Zombieland Double Tap. So my wife and I were watching this movie, and then there was this group of teenagers who were kind of I don't know, they weren't teenagers, but they were kind of loud. They were mga Gen Zers sila. So parang ang gulo nila, ingay nila sa loob ng cinema while watching Zombieland. They couldn't get all the references, so they started, they're all Japorms and everything, right?
Japorms.
Oh, Japorms! I don't know.
Who says Japorms anymore?
The same guy who calls teenagers kids, clearly.
I don't know.
Because that's how old he is now.
Fuck y'all. Anyway. Fine. Using more modern lingo, mga hype beat,
I'm gonna go with Japorms.
Okay, good so Japorms is still better. Whatever, Misha.
Okay, go. I don't pretend. See, I don't pretend.
So I was telling my wife, putang inang ingay na tong mga to. Sino ba tong mga to? So fast forward to when the movie was over, the lights came out. Puta, it was James Street and Nadine Lustre.
Oh.
And their barkada. I was like, ha! Fuck, man. Tapos, tangina, ingay nyo pala sa cinema, nakakaasal. Sorry, guys.
Name
Cinema
drop.
ethics.
Name drop.
Oh, you are so upset.
Come on!
Goodness.
I'm watching a movie. I paid for this thing.
I hear you. I'm right there with you.
He up.
But I love your movies, Wala kang pambawi ko, no?
Yeah, you just hold on to that.
Ganda.
Yeah, I watch all their movies, though. That's why I'm subscribed to I Want TV.
But do you talk through their movies?
Well, I'm not in the cinema when I watch their movies. I watch it on I Want TV.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point.
But I generally don't talk through movies when I watch them. Because if I talk through the movie, I can't pay attention to what I'm watching.
Okay. We talked a lot about what it's like watching in the cinema with people, without people, whatever. What's your take on people who would rather forego all of that bother and effort and just watch the same movie on their phone? What do you think, Anjo, as a director?
For me, they have their rights. If they prefer to watch it, I understand that some people refuse to pay for movies. It's their choice. I can't really control how they want to watch it, but all I have to say is they're missing out on the experience. If they're not big on that, then that's fine. It doesn't take away from my experience. It doesn't take away from me enjoying the movie I'm watching. Bahala kayo, trip nyo yan, fine. If you're gonna lose the fun of watching that in the cinema, it's fine. If you don't want to spend for it, it's okay. As long as I'm not telling you to watch it. So yeah. I'll tell you to watch it. I won't force you into paying for it. So I guess it's a to each his own thing.
Yeah, but at some point you gotta feel for everybody who's worked hard on it, especially the director and cinematographer and editor, and even the sound people who work so hard into optimizing it for the best viewing experience. And you have a point. It's really up to people on how or when or what medium to use to watch it, but it's just being a little bit more conscientious of the effort that people put into these movies. And if you appreciate that, then I guess you'd be more inclined to at least watch it on a bigger screen and not your teeny tiny phone. Yeah,
but for me though, like as long as it's not a pirated copy, it should be fine. Because that takes away the respect from all the hard work that's been put into producing a film.
Yeah.
So I guess that's probably the main thing. But if you're viewing it on a streaming platform, which is very accessible through phone, that means you've been paying for it. So that's fine.
Yeah. And I guess some are optimized din naman for some content. At least they're optimized for phones and smaller. Well, a lot of production outfits, I guess, are adjusting to that now.
Yeah, which is kind of sad. Like sometimes, kasi parang the thing with Philippines. The thing with the Philippine cinema is parang there's no outfit or there's nobody that has archived any of our movies, any Philippine cinema properly. So parang if you watch all these old movies or if you're gonna move all these movies to digital, it's not gonna be a good copy anymore because nag-deteriorate the original film. Sayang, because there's a lot of good, there's a lot of good work in Philippine cinema history. So yun lang yung so then you find some of these on YouTube.
I think what makes it even sadder is that you have archiving efforts or restoration efforts. I mean, aside from what ABS-CBN was doing, obviously, a lot of the restoration projects or attempts to archive these films don't even come from local sources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just heartbreaking. If I'm not, In fact, who was the one who paid for the restoration of Genghis Khan, for example? I think it was like an Italian film institute or something. And that's supposed to be one of our great classics. But, no physical copy even existed here. Things like that. So, sayang
it
is kind of heartbreaking that in this country, cinema as an art form is vastly underappreciated for what it is, especially when it comes to what MJ said, the contributions of all the people who worked hard to make it. And it's sad.
But the good thing about the digital platform right now is that I think there's a newfound appreciation for it, especially with a lot of those big company sponsored studios that have put out quality movies in the past year or so. Not gonna name names.
I agree with you as far as new releases go. Yes, there is an appreciation of streaming platforms as a medium for new cinema content. But as far as old archived content, I think that the only thing that these big outfits see when they look at the streaming platforms is, hey, we can still make money off those old titles. Maybe we should restore some of them. Let's prioritize the ones by our studio.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's
a vicious cycle, really. At the end of the day, everyone wants to make money, and you can't really blame them.
Yep, that's true, especially for a developing country such as ours.
But with all of that having been said, for me, I mean, I don't know if I'm just being nostalgic. Okay, I think I'm being nostalgic at this point because it's been like 5-6 months since I've been in the theater. But for me, there's just still something magical when the lights go down in a cinema and the screen starts up that just takes you away from whatever crappy day you had or from whatever you were doing at work, and you can just immerse yourself in something else for a couple of hours. And
kind of
nothing is more effective at
else.
That. Nothing is more effective for me than a good film, honestly and truly.
I agree. Like, I'm one to spend money on movies. Like, I don't really care where I watch as long as it's, in a cinema, because it's just so different watching it there. I mean, watching it from the comfort of your home, of your own home, it's just a lot, where everybody's quiet, it's tuloy-tuloy. You don't get any breaks where you can just pause. It's such a great experience.
It's a commitment. It is also a commitment on your part to really just let everything go and watch.
Yeah.
And just enjoy the experience.
Yeah, it's like watching. I remember having to pee 4 times before going into the Avengers movie because I really didn't want to run out.
Do you have the bladder of a goldfish?
I do. Like I do.
Oh God! How do you go on road trips?
I drink a lot of water. Like I drink like maybe like 4 liters worth of water in a day.
Well, at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna go with the words of Joss Whedon in Firefly, where there's a very special level of hell, the one reserved for child molesters and people who talk in theaters.
Love that.
Come on, say it. Is it ano? Mama, wala siyang bra! Is it that?
That's fine.
I think that kid gets a pass.
Yeah, that kid gets a pass.
That kid's a winner. That kid's a winner.
We'll see
that dirty old man voice that you did checking out Kirsten Dunst's
he doesn't just get
upper lung area. That guy's going to that special kind of hell.
If I see or if I get to know who that kid was ever in my life, I'm giving that.
Wait, how old would you have said? Well, how old would you say that kid was, MJ?
Oh,
5, 6.
I said it earlier, like 8 or younger, probably.
Yeah.
You realize that kid be pushing age. 30 now?
Oh God!
Wow.
That kid be like 28 now.
When? Wow. The first Spider-Man movie came out in 2001.
I bet his family. 2000.
Or was it 2000?
Yeah.
2000?
No, 2000. No, 2002. 2002.
2001.
2001? 2001. Same year as the first Harry Potter, right?
Oh, so probably younger then. No, 8 or
2001.
5. Okay. Maybe 5. I don't know.
So he's like 24 now. Oh. Still old. I bet his whole family still makes fun of him for that. That is such a family thing to do.
Yeah.
Naalala mo yung time nung sinabi ni Junior yun nung nanonood tayo ng Spider-Man?
I think I also remember the mom trying to shush him at some point, but she was laughing too.
If I were that kid's parent, I'd be laughing. Be like, shh.
That would just make it funnier.
I'd probably make that sound like priceless. Again, that's a cinema experience you'll never get watching movies at home.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Because I don't know about you. If I'd be watching a movie by myself in my room, like at night, and then a kid speaks up from the side, I would be terrified.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
I would not want this to happen.
All right. So that has been our nostalgic missing cinema episode. So feel free to share if you have any funny experiences or pet peeves that we haven't mentioned. We didn't get to snacks, but maybe that will be another time.
I don't mind snacks.
Well, there's that one cinema chain that doesn't allow outside snacks.
Oh man.
Yeah, unless you buy from their snack bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but their food is terrible.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Here's the thing. You could actually buy groceries. You could buy snacks in the groceries, pass them off as your groceries, and just sneak in snacks.
Oh, wow.
Oops.
You bring your groceries into the theater.
Who said they were groceries? They're actually just snacks for the movie. They don't check those. I've done that several times.
Okay.
I like that you're proud of this.
Okay.
Sure. Guys, tip lang ha. Kasi okay, don't name names. I'm pretty sure they won't know.
So if you guys also have some tips to sneak in snacks like Anjo did, like for cinemas that don't allow outside snacks, go ahead. If you haven't followed our Facebook page yet, go ahead. We're going to post a couple of updates there.
Can I just share one experience before we're done?
Fine. Okay. We were closing it already. But...
Sorry, my bad. I just remember watching Nacho Libre and somebody snuck in a bottle of rum while watching Nacho Libre. It was the best thing ever.
Well,
they brown bagged the bottle of rum and started drinking inside watching Nacho Libre. It was the best experience.
That actually sounds kind of cool.
But well, I snuck in beer while we were watching Cats and it helped so much.
Oh my God. She thought she was going to go to jail. She was asking me, are we allowed to drink at the cinema? Are we allowed to drink at the cinema? I'm like, just drink. No one's going to stop you.
No one's going to see you. No one's going to pay attention to you.
Like she and her boy, they just went to town on the beer because it was anything to get through that movie. It was just so bad.
When we opened the can finally and it had that like that little sweet fizz when you open a can, Misha was like, oh my God, that sounds so good. Because we were suffering.
Because holy shit, I was like not yet medically cleared to drink alcohol. And then I don't know if she was tipsy or what halfway through it, but she was just laughing already. And then she leans over and she's like, you know what makes it better? I'm like, what? What makes it better? It's Tiger beer. I'm like, oh my God.
That sweet snap, crackle, and pop.
I was being witty because we were watching Cats.
I was like, you two are idiots.
I was being witty, okay? And that beer is strong, so thank you to that beer. I am eternally grateful.
Okay.
Okay. So that was our cinema experience episode, and we all miss it. But I guess we're going to have to stick with Netflix and other streaming platforms for now. But hopefully it'll be soon. Hopefully we shall get inside a dark room with lots of people. With the best
sex tape.
I knew it. I knew I was getting there. I regretted it the minute I said it. The second I said it, I immediately regretted it.
Is that why you slowed down?
Yes. So yes.
She's like, I'm making a horrible mistake.
It's awesome. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to watch a good movie in the cinemas soon. And until then, you can share your favorite cinema experiences, your own pet peeves on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Sub-Auteurs. You can listen to our episode on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your platforms, Google Podcasts. And yeah, this has been the Sub-Auteurs. My name is MJ.
I'm Misha.
And I'm Anjo.
Bye.
This has been a Big Baby Studios production.
Woohoo! Yay!
Plug.
Mama, wala siyang bra!
Ay, mali.
Go for it.
Hi, welcome to Sub-Auteurs, our little movie podcast. My name's MJ.
I'm Misha.
I'm Anjo.
Isa pa!
Are you sure? Are you sure that's who you are?
Okay.
Wait, sinong gigitna? Coordinates.
That's what she said.
Ay, puta. Title of your sex tape.
Good night, though. Sounds like a good night, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sub-Auteurs. My name is MJ.
I'm
Misha. That was just cutting it so close.
Wait, sino ba talaga?
I don't know. How do we usually do this?
Sige, I'll go last. There. I'm owning it.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Finally.
It's like when somebody says on 3. Is that 1, 2, 3 then go or 1, 2 go?
That's true. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sub-Auteurs. My name is MJ.
I'm Misha.
And I'm Anjo.